So when you start making, how long does it take to make a bass for you?
Well, I'll say it this way. I've been doing it for a little over 5 years, and every time I've done it, my process has gotten faster and faster.
5 years, so that's not so long ago. So,
No.
what is it? Just came to you one day? I'm gonna make a bass, or did you have some experience with making basses, or?
Well, so I started out playing and started down the rabbit hole of trying to find sound that I heard on a recording, and it got me to figuring out how to work on my basses. Then I started working on other friends' basses, and then before you knew it, I was doing business of repairing and doing customizations and all that kind of stuff. So then ultimately you touch so many different basses that you get to the point where you go to the store, you can't find any one thing that you like. But I had an experience of so many different basses of things that I liked and things that I didn't like. So I'm like, I got to figure out how to make my own. I had no woodworking background. The only thing I had at that point was electronics background. I knew how to change electronics. I could do little custom, like cosmetic stuff here and there. But I had to go down that rabbit hole and figure it out. And ultimately, it's a long story. I got a brochure with the abbreviated version of the story, but ultimately I figured it out. I built my first bass out of Home Depot wood, and the bass still to this day plays amazing. I call that Adam. I call that bass Adam. Then I built my second bass, which was the same bass with better quality, better curves, and that one is called Eve.
That makes sense.
And then I made another bass that was a little smaller, similar shape, and it had the same characteristics, but it was different. And that one I called Cable. If you follow the story, Adam, Eve, Cable, you can figure out where Cable came from. And then I went into this model, which I consider to be like my classic take on what bass is considered, jazz basses or so forth. And this is called Jubal. Jubal is named after the first string musician in the Bible.
Okay.
So that's kind of the abbreviated story.
Okay. So as you started making these basses, how do you pick your wood? I mean, so you say you started like with Home Depot wood. So what is it? An inspiration is the way the wood looks, or you think it gives you a certain tone, or?
Well, definitely different species of wood give you different tones. They all have different characteristics. You kind of have to learn what does what gives you low end, what gives you high end, what has strong density, what has low density. And if you learn how to merge those pieces together, you can find the sound combinations that you want. So a lot of times it's partly the look of a wood, but it's also the characteristics that determine if I'm going to use it or not.
Okay.
It's availability, it's all types of stuff. Sometimes I go to the wood shop and the guy will tell me, hey, I got this piece of wood over here, you should check it out. And it just like calls me, says, hey, make a bass out of me. So, and that's happened a few times. So that's kind of part of it.
Okay. Okay. Also, for example, like this piece of wood right here, this is a beautiful, and that finish is beautiful.
Thank you.
So when you get it, do you actually know how it's gonna turn out, or you get the wood, you say, "Oh, this is my vision for it," or does it just kind of happen? Is it a process that
Generally,
you do?
I have an idea how I want it to look, okay. But a lot of times it takes a turn during the process, and
inspiration
I end
hits
up with something else.
Okay.
So the way I like to put it is, the material talks to me. It'll tell me what it wants to do. Like I'll have an idea of what I want it to do, but while I'm working it, sometimes it'll say no. I want to go this way. And then I have to shape it differently, or I have to, put a different finish on it or whatever. So no two of my basses to this point and for a while will not be the same. They're all custom basses, all of them. So they may have similar shapes, like this one and this one here are both Jubal models, right?
Yes.
But clearly there's a difference. Right, they're inspired the same, similar headstock shapes, so forth and so on. But there's a clear difference. This is a semi-hollow. This is African pearwood top and Detroit spruce for the body. It's spruce that's cut down in the inner city of Detroit. It's a beautiful thing. And this one is also Detroit spruce. Same wood, same trees. But it's just used differently, and that happened during the process. That top here is spalted maple. I have a maple fretboard, and that neck is poplar, which is different. I've never really seen a guitar neck out of poplar, but Because poplar a lot of times is considered a light, soft wood.
For bodies.
For bodies, sometimes even for like hobby stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if you find the right piece and you know how to work it, sometimes you can use it for what you want. So this one is poplar. It's considered a soft wood, but it's got carbon fiber rods in it. So that actually enhances. That actually enhances the strength.
Nobody
of the
makes
neck
the back
overall.
beautiful. That's a beautiful back.
It's gotta be 360.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a 360 situation. So,
wow.
Because even if you're playing, you're looking at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You want to be inspired by what you're playing. Somebody's looking at it.
Wow.
So it depends on what's necessary for the species of wood.
Let me go behave myself. I was going to say something, but I remember my 14-year-old here.
Okay.
Depending on it's always the situation. It's different situations, different combinations of wood, different species, different characteristics. They all call for something different.
Okay.
Even the materials and putting them together, sometimes it has to change. So, for example, most of these bodies are using woodworking glue, the normal woodworking glue. Okay. That's how I do most of them. But then I got to this new one, which I'm working on.
Yeah.
Now this is a special resin top that was made for me from a creator called Chaotic Artworks.
Okay.
And it's an amazing top. Like if you really take a deep look at it, you can see some clear voids in there. You can see there's some sparkle in there, all types of colors, whites,
matching knobs,
all that stuff. I got matching knobs made for it. This is the resin top and Paulina, one-piece Paulina back, curly maple neck with a maple fretboard. Because this is a resin top, wood glue doesn't work with that, so you have to use something different. So you have to use something that works with epoxy. So you're using epoxy glue. Epoxy glue with the same type of glue that they use in boats. They have to use that because boats need to stay together to float. You know what I mean? They have to be waterproof, so forth and so on. So that's the different materials require different methods. It's just how it goes. You're learning and exploring as you go. Sometimes to be honest, sometimes you make a mistake, and depending on how well you can recover from the mistake will determine how beautiful your piece comes out. And it's a mistake to you, the creator, but it may not be a mistake to the person who's buying. But if you're not happy with it as the creator, then how can you expect anyone else to be happy with it?
Right.
Okay.
So it's just what it is. I want to make sure I'm happy with it. Like if I would play it, I expect anybody else to play it. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Okay. So in this 5 years, how many basses you think you've made?
Well, it's ramped up considerably over the last year. I'll say it that way. But all in all, I'm probably close to 20.
20?
Close to 20.
20? Okay.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the last question. Have you ever made a bass that you didn't want to sell or regret selling? All of them. All personal.
Every time I finish a bass, I'm like, nah, I don't want to get rid of this one.
Feel
This
like
was every single time.
Right.
Every single time.
When you make something and it becomes part of you, I would imagine it's like this is the new best. This is the new best.
It's always the new best. It's always the new best because you got to think, as you're creating something, you are taking into consideration all of your past experiences, your past creations, and you're making mental notes of things that you feel like I could do that differently, or I can change that. I can improve this. I can do this, do that, whatever. And every time you do it, it's the best. So every bass I'm doing is my best. Every bass I'm completing, I don't want to sell. I want to keep them all. But how can I expect to build a legacy of a business or whatever if I don't let them go? right?
Yeah.
If I don't let them live and fly with other people, then I'm just spinning my wheels for myself. That's not really being a blessing to somebody else. You know what I mean? Part of what I'm doing is to be a blessing to somebody else. Like, my goal, above all, one is to make sure that I'm addressing the things that I, as a bass player, have encountered, and as well as my clients have encountered, and things that I've done with their repairs and customizations and all that kind of stuff. So I incorporate all of those experiences into my builds.
Okay.
That's one. Two, I want for every bass player to have the opportunity to be unique. Now, for me personally, everybody can't say the same thing, but me personally, I have never enjoyed going to an event, a venue, a concert, or whatever, and I go to take my bass out, and there's 4 other guys with the same exact bass. Where's the uniqueness about that? Where's the individuality? There is none, right? Because you could close your eyes, and aside from the technique, you don't know who's playing, right? Because the sound is exactly the same, or they look exactly the same. That's a cookie cutter thing. I'm not a fan of that personally, right? I want for every player to have that opportunity to say, "Yo, this is my custom joint." Whether you order it to be custom or you just buy it, It's a custom bass because nobody else is going to have the same bass. That's just a fact. Right. It's going to have a personal sound. It's going to have a personal feel because everything, I'm shaping all of these by hand. There's no CNC with very minimal things, and I'm being honest here. Very minimal things on my builds are CNC. That hollow body right there, that cutout, that was done by CNC. Right? I outsourced that.
Okay.
I'm being honest. But everything else on these bodies, on these necks, is all by me, all by hand. So, to me, I have soul attached to these instruments. It's not a machine doing it. It's not a computer doing it. This is a human being with touch. Granted, I have measuring instruments to make sure that I have things that feel a certain way, but this is all touch. When this is all said and done, my test is, how does it feel when I play? Is it comfortable? Do I feel like I want to keep playing? Am I tired of playing? If I'm tired of playing it, then it ain't right. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to finish it. I'm not going to be done with it until it is. It's just what it is.
Okay. So these basses, JClef, check out JClef Basses. They are tour tried. These aren't just basses these are people who are using them going on tours.
Absolutely.
And so y'all need to check out these basses. I've been sitting here this morning and K-Bass was playing and just making me want to pick up a bass and play. Wish I could just do it like he did it, but these basses sound amazing. So you guys have to get them. It is going to be a wonderful investment and a true, good, and great, excellent investment. JClef Basses. State your name.
Justin Goodman.
Justin Goodman. Look him up. Look up JClef Basses. Immediately.
It's at JClef Basses on all social media.
Yeah.
At
Instagram,
JClef
everything.
Instagram, YouTube, all of them. At JClef Basses.
Get one now.
Thank you.
Thank you.